And we're back. Wow, that week went by quickly. Internet, you know my name. It's the top 5. This is part 2 of me talking about my top 10 favorite Survivor winners. So, if you didn't catch the previous 5, check it out. There's a lot to talk about. And before I get to more of my hot takes in this one, I want to know who your top 5 favorite winners are in the comments below. Hit me with the hottest of hot. And if you already told me in part 1, then just copy paste, it's all gravy. Either way, here are my personal top 5 favorite winners in Survivor history thus far. Number 5, Internet. Did you leave a comment when I asked you to leave a comment? Yeah? I'm playing this for Jacqueline. Number 5 is from season 29, San Juan del Sur. It's Natalie Anderson. What can I say? I'm a sucker for an insane endgame. Because Natalie really turns on the afterburners for the second half of this season after she loses Jeremy in a blindside by her own allies. She is burned and now brandishing the blades, and I love me a good Kill Bill Volume 3. Natalie speaks her mind. She is great TV. She doesn't mind getting loud when she needs to, and she's loyal to those in her circle. Until they cross her. The first half of her winning game is decent. She loses her 20 in the premiere, and in a season all about playing with your loved one, this is such a major gut punch after one vote. But Natalie is situated perfectly come the merge and then the end game, and her repeated efforts to just finesse the cast. First by getting John to play his idol, then getting Reed out, then keeping Keith in the game over Alec, and then orchestrating the split vote on John, and then playing her idol on Jacqueline as the coup de grace to seal her spot amongst the Survivor champions. And yeah, she also convinces Missy and Jacqueline to vote out Keith. She bookends the season perfectly. She's a badass who balled out, and I have mad respect for her.
When Nadia got out, lit a fire under me that I was like, I'm gonna get it, and I'm gonna get it for Nadia, for myself, just to prove to everybody else that I'm the best one out here.
John does not count.
Oh my God, I could totally flip the entire game.
11th person voted out, the 5th member of our jury.
It's either making a big move today and risking losing it all and not making final 3, or kind of playing it safe and vote out Jacqueline.
If anybody has a hidden immunity idol and you want to play it, now would be the time to do so.
Jacqueline, did you vote for who I told you to vote for? I'm playing this for Jack.
Number 4. But there's only one queen in Survivor, and that is the ruler of the Pearl Islands and Samoa. It's the villain who puts the villains in their place, the two-timer from the richest port in town. It's Sandra Diaz-Twine. I prefer her win in Pearl Islands more than Heroes vs. Villains, if only because that season was a just total roller coaster of what the heck is happening at any point in time with the boot order. Whereas season 20 had a little bit of that going on too, but it was more watching Russell crash and burn. Make no mistake though, Sandra is best when she's underestimated. When people don't think she can get loud, oh yes she can. When people don't think she can plant seeds, oh yes she can. When people don't think that she can frame her own ally for self-preservation's sake, Krista, adios. You're swimming with the fishes. And when people don't think she can win a jury vote, the only way to win Survivor, after already doing so once, well, I don't know about that. I adore Sandra's ability to be deadpan honest and brutally blunt and get away with it. She's played 4 times, 5 abroad, and she always brings good TV. She gets me to laugh. She's brutal with Fair Play and Thunder D. She crosses her fingers to betray Burton. She burns Russell's funky hat, and she doesn't care. Not a care in the world. She can't win a challenge to save her life. She knows it, but the catch is that she doesn't need to. Her reputation now precedes her, and she'll never get past day 16, although maybe in modern Survivor that's not too shabby. Everyone has an opinion of her, but in the end, the queen stays queen.
He says the game starts, you're taking nothing. I was like, oh. When we got back to camp, I kept thinking, you know what? They're not coming to enjoy Rupert's fish. Screw that.
I swear on my grandmother. I swear. Like, you guys have a plan or not?
I swear on my 2 kids that I'm with you guys. In my head, I was like, I swear on my kids that I'm gonna screw you and Burton.
Last time I was mean, and this time I'm meaner. You know, I'll lie, I don't care. But I'll make up a good lie.
I'm the only person to ever win Survivor 2 times. And it wasn't just luck.
Are you with me or are you against me?
I'm against you, Russell. The queen stays queen. Adios.
Number 3. Blindside time? I think it's time for a blindside. This winner hasn't shown up yet, and I gotta think many are expecting them, so yeah, I guess it's time I mentioned I am a massive fan of Chip Overflame. Sorry, Chris Underwood. Wow, no, wait, oh, holy mental typo. Tony Vlachos. Yeah, not Chris Underwood. Tony is my third favorite, and I think a lot of people are expecting him high, maybe even number 1, but he's here at number 3. And he's always kind of been here because what needs to be said about Tony that I haven't already talked about in like a dozen videos before? How he always runs through the jungle at full sprint. How he makes my eyes go bing. How he's a fiend for wild, off-the-cuff tactics that somehow pan out again and again. He's got his bag of tricks. He's got his spy shack, his bunker, his nest. He's the lion of the Survivor world, and while he's not everyone's cup of tea, kind of like the other two-timer out there, I still think he is way too good to pass up, and I've always been a fan of his since first joining Team Good TV back in 2014. Every 3 years, Tony makes an appearance on our screens, and I guess that means he's due for a 4th time any day now. I need immense strategy and over-the-top character antics bundled into one, and Tony consistently delivers on every front, no matter the odds, no matter the episode. And for that, I have him this high amongst a strong group of heavy hitters.
I'm probably the villain, but everything I did was survival based. I came out here to win $1 million, and my focus is still to win $1 million. I'm a huge threat. I created the Spy Shack. I found a special idol. I voted out my closest ally.
Sharp spoken.
Thank you.
And just when you think you've seen it all, you ain't seen nothing yet. My spine has evolved. It's called the Spy Nest.
Sophie, can you bring me your torch?
If I can pull this off and get that $2 million at the end, and they crown me the king of Survivor, and I sit in Sandra's throne, the queen, I sit in her throne and I have the crown on.
Number 2. And you know what? Maybe we'll just get to number 1 as well. These slippery little suckers, these kittens, they managed to sneak all the way up to my top 2. And to be frank, in all the years of watching Survivor, my top 2 have at least one thing in common. They've never changed. They still haven't changed after all these years, possibly due to posterity, due to nostalgia, due to the fact that they helped shape my love for the show. Like I said earlier, there were only 17 seasons when I hopped on the bandwagon, and there weren't nearly as many winners to pick from. A top 10 at that point would have looked a little shallow. A little Parvati shallow, let's say. Yeah, Parvati is my favorite winner. She's my number 1. I've said this before, but I was pretty damn crushed when she lost Heroes vs. Villains. Even though I like Sandra too, clearly, I couldn't help but feel that pang of defeat. But Micronesia was one of the last seasons I watched in my binge, and I couldn't look away. I wanted more. I wanted a Micronesia 2.0 where the cast returned and just did it all over again. Parvati hooked me from very early on with her massive threat level and her ability to steer the ship in a direction that benefited her. She accrued allies in the pre-merge and just totally dominated the social and strategic game from the merge onward, leading blindsides and eventually clipping her own allies all the while. She was dastardly, she was ruthless, and she had a smile on her face. She was unapologetic for her betrayals, and she still won. She did get a little lucky with that final 2 over a final 3, probably the closest final 3 ever, but hey, that's Survivor. And to see her nearly repeat that game where the stakes were even higher only 4 seasons later in Heroes vs. Villains, she was stabbing hearts and mine was ready to burst. And as a Billy myself, I don't know what Billy was seeing in Candace when Parvati was literally right there. She's right there, dude. But yeah, she's my number 1. I was so happy to see her back for Winners at War, if only to appreciate her laughing in the premiere as the newer winners were just scrambling around her. She was tragically clipped too soon alongside Sandra on the same fateful night. Go figure. Quite the reunion there. But I'm here for Micronesia above all else, and the Black Widow Brigade reigns supreme.
Coming back and playing really aggressively, and pretty much it's no holds barred for me. So I haven't been here miserable, going through all this crap to not win this game. I'm playing smart this time. Like, I want to make the right alliances with people that I know I can trust.
Grabbing my coattails, girl.
I don't ride coattails, baby. I don't.
I'm like a phoenix rising from the ashes, ready to burn down your house.
It's been a very different ride for me this time than it ever has before, but I'm going back out really proud of who I was in this version of the game.
Which means number 2 is right behind Parvati. No, I mean like he won right before she did. He's literally right behind her. Number 2 is Todd Herzog from season 15 China, a one and done winner who I badly wish I could have seen play on Winners at War, though I likely know how that would have ended given the boot order. Todd is a superfan from the early days of the show when superfans weren't nearly as common, and to me he stood out like a bright star in a dark sky. He was always on the move, always forward thinking, always trying to be one step ahead of his opposition. Kind of like Parvati, he was unapologetic in his gameplay. He put people in their place, if only because he was just trying to win a really complicated game. He thought outside the box with the twists and the idols, and James being on the other tribe, attempting to throw a challenge for his alliance's benefit, using the twist to his advantage, like with his social game and Leslie giving him clues after being kidnapped. Todd led the charge against Jean Robert, finally sending him and his American Idol packing. And he got James out with 2 idols in his pocket, although yes, Amanda gets more credit for pushing that. He's also funny, so underrated in that regard. His impressions in the recap episode that like nobody watches, but you should, they're worth checking out sometimes, are great. And his duo with Courtney is one of my favorite relationships between 2 players. It was complicated, a little bit ugly at times, especially given Courtney didn't even want to be there, but where they went from being strangers who were kinda irked with each other half the time, mistaking that for friendship, they ended up as actually really close friends well beyond the reunion show. Also just a fun little tidbit behind the scenes, but I commissioned him to make a pop of himself, one of my favorite winners, from his pop shop on Instagram, which I've had in my room for a few years now. Also, he made one of my cat too. There's just little things like that to remind me of a time that sparked this whole channel to exist in the first place. Back then, China and Micronesia were just all the rage, and this video is one more nod to them and their winners and what I got from them so many years ago.
I wasn't the strongest, I wasn't the smartest, but I was definitely the most strategic. James loses immunity, they vote for him, but he uses the idol to get rid of Jamie. I fought. It's a glorious battle. Art of war, yin and yang. I came out as a fighter. That's just bottom line.
I know that you're sharp. I don't know why, my gut feeling tells me you're particularly sharp.
Jean Robert was very right. I will do whatever I need to do to win that $1 million. It's $1 million. That's a lot of money.
Winner of Survivor China.
And cut, that's gonna be it. Those are my top 5 and 10 favorite Survivor winners. But those are just my takes. What are yours? Who are your favorites and why? Do we have any similar opinions? A huge thank you to my patrons for knowing these picks before anyone else. Time flies when you see it ahead of time, who knew? And thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to put some respect on Chip Overflame's name on your way out. And I will see you in the next one, once I figure out what this person's name is from the season 20 reunion. Because, quite frankly, they were robbed.
So we thought it might be fun to create the Survivor prototype. So we combined all of the people who've won Survivor, and we came up with the ultimate player. And we put all these things together. We used a little bit from all of the winners. And take a look at this guy. That is Richard Hatch's left eyebrow. That's Sandra's right eyebrow. That's the earlobes of Parvati, the dimples of JT, the bottom lip of Tom Westman. We've got Ethan and Amber's in there in the nose. Anyway, if you know this guy, or if you are this guy, come on to Survivor because you could win.